Welcome to another episode of Books and Bites. Today we're diving deep into a literary giant, Herman Melville's Moby Dick.
A classic for a reason.
This novel grapples with huge themes. Our mission today is to give you a complete, engaging, and concise narration of its intricate plot.
Absolutely.
All right, so where does this monumental story actually begin? Take us to the starting point of this epic voyage.
Well, the journey begins with Ishmael.
Okay.
A young man restless with life on land who famously declares, "Call me Ishmael."
Right.
Seeking adventure and a connection to the sea, he sets his sights on a whaling voyage and arrives in New Bedford, Massachusetts, ready to find a ship.
And New Bedford is our first real setting?
Yes.
What kind of atmosphere does Melville paint there for us?
New Bedford is depicted as a bustling whaling port, full of salty characters and the tangible scent of the sea.
I like it.
Ishmael finds lodging at the Spouter Inn, a lively, somewhat eccentric tavern. It's here that a significant event occurs.
Okay, what is it?
He discovers he will be sharing a bed with a heavily tattooed harpooner from the South Pacific.
Oh, wow.
Named Queequeg.
Queequeg?
Queequeg, yeah.
That sounds like quite the unexpected rooming situation.
Yes, very much so.
What's Ishmael's initial reaction to this, and how does their relationship evolve?
Initially, Ishmael is understandably apprehensive.
Yeah.
Even a bit fearful of Queequeg.
Sure.
Who is so different from anyone he has encountered before.
Right.
However, Melville beautifully portrays the rapid dissolving of these prejudices.
Okay.
As Ishmael and Queequeg forge a deep and profound friendship.
I love that.
They even participate in a unique bonding ritual.
Oh, wow.
Highlighting the power of human connection to bridge cultural divides.
Really cool.
Yes.
From this surprising friendship, they decide to seek a whaling vessel in Nantucket.
That's right.
Why Nantucket, and what happens when they arrive?
Nantucket was the epicenter of the American whaling industry at the time.
Okay.
Upon arriving, Ishmael and Queequeg began looking for a ship.
Okay.
And eventually decide to sign on to the Pequod.
The Pequod?
The Pequod, yes.
And what can you tell us about this ship?
It's described as an older, somewhat foreboding vessel with a reputation that precedes it.
Got it.
They meet the ship's Quaker owners, Peleg and Bildad, retired whaling captains themselves.
And these two owners offer us some early hints about the voyage ahead, particularly regarding the captain.
Right.
What do they reveal?
Peleg and Bildad are rather cagey about the Pequod's Captain Ahab. They speak of him with a mix of respect and a certain unease, hinting at his past experiences and a somewhat singular nature, but they don't disclose the full extent of his character or the true purpose of the voyage.
So there's already some mystery surrounding this Ahab.
Very much so.
Despite their cryptic remarks,
Yes.
they agree to take Ishmael aboard before they set sail. There's another encounter with a mysterious figure named Elijah. What role does he play in foreshadowing the events to come?
Elijah is a shadowy, almost prophetic figure who accosts Ishmael and Queequeg with dire warnings about the journey.
Oh.
He suggests that the voyage is driven by a dangerous and perhaps even doomed purpose beyond simply hunting whales for profit.
So another layer of mystery added here.
Yes.
Despite these ominous pronouncements, Ishmael and Queequeg proceed.
They do.
And the Pequod departs on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day.
So the Pequod is finally at sea.
Yes.
But Captain Ahab is noticeably absent in the initial chapters.
He is.
Who was in command during this time, and what are they like?
In Ahab's absence, the ship is commanded by its three mates. First, there's Starbuck, a highly competent and deeply religious man who views whaling primarily as a practical and commercial endeavor. Then there's Stubb, the second mate, a jovial and humorous character with a more fatalistic outlook. And finally, Flat, the third mate, is portrayed as a brash and fearless individual who sees whales simply as targets to be conquered.
So three very different personalities there.
Yes, very distinct perspectives on their profession and the sea.
And then the legendary Captain Ahab finally makes his dramatic entrance. What's the crew's reaction, and what kind of impression does he make on us?
When Ahab finally appears on deck, he commands immediate attention. He's described as a striking figure, tall and gaunt, with a face etched by some inner torment. Most significantly, he has a prosthetic leg made of whalebone.
Oh, wow.
A constant invisible reminder of his past encounter with the white whale Moby Dick.
I see.
Yeah.
It's at this point that Ahab reveals the true driving force behind this voyage.
Right.
What does he tell the crew about their real mission?
Ahab gathers the entire crew and unveils the true purpose of their journey.
Okay.
Not merely to hunt whales for their oil, but to seek out and exact revenge on Moby Dick, the white whale that had taken his leg on a previous voyage.
So this is a revenge mission.
It is a quest for vengeance.
How does Ahab try to get the crew on board with this?
He is utterly consumed by this desire for retribution and to galvanize the crew. He offers a gold doubloon to the first man who spots the white whale.
So he's really putting a price on this whale's head.
Absolutely.
This revelation completely shifts the narrative, doesn't it? It's no longer just a whaling expedition, personal quest for vengeance.
It is.
How does this obsession then permeate the crew's experience?
Ahab's obsession gradually takes hold of the crew. While they do engage in successful whale hunt, Ahab relentlessly steers the Pequod in pursuit of any rumor or sighting of Moby Dick.
Got it.
Often at the expense of more profitable whaling opportunities.
So this obsession is taking over everything.
Yes.
His singular focus slowly becomes the crew's,
right,
overriding their initial motivations for a more conventional voyage.
That's right.
Within the crew, we see a strong moral opposition to Ahab's obsession.
Yes.
In the character of Starbuck. What are his primary objections?
Starbuck serves as a powerful voice of reason and morality. He vehemently opposes Ahab's vengeful pursuit, arguing that it is not only irrational, but also a form of blasphemy against nature.
Oh, wow. So he sees this as going against God's will.
He does.
He views Moby Dick as a creature of God, not an embodiment of evil deserving of such fanatical hatred.
Exactly.
He recognizes the madness in Ahab's quest and fears the inevitable consequences. Woven throughout this unfolding drama are the philosophical musings of Ishmael.
Right.
What are some of the deeper reflections he offers during this time?
Ishmael's narrative is punctuated by insightful digressions on profound themes. He contemplates the interplay of fate and free will. Are they on this path due to destiny? Or are Ahab's choices the sole driving force?
Interesting.
He also delves into the complex symbolism of the color white, questioning why this color, often associated with purity and innocence, evokes such terror and mystery in the form of the white whale.
Right.
He suggests it represents the vast, unknowable aspects of the universe.
I see.
Yeah.
As the Pequod sails on, counters other whaling ships. What significance do these encounters hold, particularly in relation to Moby Dick?
These encounters serve several crucial purposes. They offer glimpses into the broader whaling community and the inherent dangers of the profession. More importantly, they provide varied accounts and harrowing stories about Moby Dick.
So we're getting different perspectives on the whale.
Yes, exactly.
Some ships bear the scars of encounters with the white whale, validating Ahab's obsession, while others dismiss him as a phantom.
Yes.
These interactions heighten the sense of anticipation.
They do.
And the formidable reputation of their elusive quarry.
Right.
We also need to discuss Fadala, Ahab's mysterious Parsi companion, and the cryptic prophecies he delivers concerning Ahab's fate.
Okay.
Tell us more about this Fadala and what he has to say.
Fadala is an enigmatic figure who serves as Ahab's personal harpooner and advisor. He makes several cryptic predictions about Ahab's death.
Like what?
He foretells that Ahab will see two hearses.
They're hearses?
The first not fashioned by human hands. And the second made of American wood.
Interesting.
He also prophesies that Ahab will be killed by hemp.
Killed by hemp. Okay, so this is setting up a lot of foreshadowing.
Yes.
These pronouncements cast a shadow of fatalism over Ahab and the entire crew.
They do.
In the midst of this relentless pursuit, Ishmael also provides incredibly detailed descriptions of the whaling industry itself.
Right.
How does Melville integrate this factual information into the fictional narrative?
Melville masterfully intertwines meticulous details about different whale species, the intricate techniques of whaling, and the exhaustive process of extracting oil into the fabric of the fictional story.
So he's really weaving in a lot of real-world details.
He is.
Ishmael's detailed accounts transform parts of the novel into an almost encyclopedic exploration of 19th century whaling practices.
That's right.
This grounding in realism makes the more symbolic and dramatic elements of the story even more impactful.
Exactly.
There's a particularly moving episode involving Queequeg's near-death experience.
Yes.
What transpires during this time, and how does it foreshadow later events in the plot?
During a particularly perilous whale hunt, Queequeg falls gravely ill and believes he is on the verge of death.
Oh, no.
In preparation for his demise, he has a coffin constructed for himself.
A coffin?
However, he miraculously recovers.
That's it.
Instead of discarding the coffin, he hollows it out and uses it as a sea chest.
Oh, interesting.
This very coffin later becomes the unlikely vessel that saves Ishmael's life.
Oh, wow. So it comes full circle.
It does.
As the voyage wore on and Ahab's obsession intensifies,
right,
his mental state appears to deteriorate significantly.
Yeah.
How would you describe his descent into what seems like madness?
Ahab's obsession completely consumes him, driving him to increasing extreme. He becomes irrational, monomaniacal, and utterly disregards the safety and well-being of his crew.
So he's really losing it.
He is.
In a symbolic act of defiance against nature.
Yes.
He orders a special harpoon to be forged, specifically to kill Moby Dick. And in a disturbing ritual, he tempers its metal using the blood drawn from his own men.
He does.
This act starkly illustrates the perverse and sacrilegious nature of his quest.
Absolutely.
We also witness a brief but significant moment where Starbuck contemplates taking control of the ship.
Yes.
What prevents him from acting on this impulse?
Driven by his profound fear of Ahab's madness.
Okay.
And the catastrophic course they are on. Starbuck briefly entertains the idea of mutiny. However, Ahab's sheer force of will, his almost hypnotic grip on the crew, and perhaps Starbuck's own inherent respect for authority, ultimately prevent him from carrying out his plan.
So he ultimately backs down.
He does.
Ahab's compelling, albeit deranged personality maintains his command.
That's right.
There's a heartbreaking encounter with another ship named the Rachel.
Yes.
Why is this meeting so pivotal in highlighting Ahab's unwavering obsession?
The encounter with the Rachel starkly reveals the absolute depth of Ahab's fixation on Moby Dick. The captain of the Rachel desperately pleads with Ahab for assistance in searching for his lost son, who is separated from his vessel while also engaged in hunting Moby Dick.
Oh, wow.
Despite the father's heart-wrenching appeal, Ahab refuses to deviate from his own course, prioritizing his personal vendetta above the life of another human being.
So he's really lost all sense of humanity here.
He has.
This moment underscores the tragic extent of his self-absorption.
Absolutely.
Finally, after what seems like an eternity of searching, the white whale is sighted.
Yes.
Can you walk us through the dramatic 3-day pursuit that follows?
The sighting of Moby Dick is the climax towards which the entire narrative has been building. Ahab immediately orders the whaling boats to be lowered, and a frantic 3-day chase ensues.
Okay, and what happens on that first day?
On the first day, Moby Dick attacks and destroys Ahab's boat, scattering its crew, though they manage to survive. The second day brings further terrifying encounters, with the whale demonstrating its immense power and cunning.
So this whale is a true force of nature.
It is.
Despite these perilous setbacks, Ahab remains utterly resolute in his pursuit.
Absolutely.
And what happens during the final fateful confrontation on the third day?
On the third day, Ahab finally succeeds in harpooning Moby Dick.
He does.
However, the enraged whale retaliates by ramming the Pequod head-on, inflicting catastrophic damage that causes the ship to break apart and sink rapidly.
So the Pequod is destroyed.
It is.
Amidst the chaos, Ahab witnesses the lifeless body of Fedallah entangled in the harpoon lines.
Yes.
Tragically fulfilling the first of the Parsi's prophecies, the hearse not made by mortal hands.
Right.
In his final moments, Ahab makes one last desperate attempt to strike Moby Dick.
Yeah.
But the harpoon rope wraps around his neck and he is dragged down into the abyss with the sinking whale, thus fulfilling the prophecy of his death by hemp.
That's right.
It's a truly devastating and iconic conclusion.
It is.
Amidst all this destruction, who emerges as the sole survivor.
The only survivor of the Pequod's destruction is Ishmael.
Ishmael. Okay.
He manages to stay afloat by clinging to Queequeg's coffin.
So that coffin really did come back into play, which, in a poignant twist of fate, becomes his unexpected life raft.
Yes.
He drifts alone in the vast ocean for several days. And how is Ishmael eventually rescued from this desolate situation?
Ishmael is eventually discovered and rescued by the Rachel.
The Rachel.
The very ship whose Captain Ahab had callously refused to aid in the search for his lost son.
Oh, wow. What a twist of irony.
It is.
It's a powerful and ironic detail that highlights the interconnectedness of their destinies.
Absolutely.
So there you have it, the complete, albeit condensed plot of Moby Dick.
A tale of obsession, friendship, and the terrifying power of nature.
Indeed, a monumental story that continues to resonate with its exploration of the human condition against the backdrop of an unforgettable adventure.
It does.
So to experience the full depth of this classic tale, grab a copy of Moby Dick from the link in the description.
Absolutely.
And be sure to subscribe to Books and Bites for more literary deep dives.